Last meeting. Last reading. What do we think?
I was right.
I know. There's so many theories that I feel like it was just like oop, oop, oop. The last one, what was the last thing that I forgot already. But I felt like for the most part we got it and it was kinda nice. Kinda nice to be like,
I definitely didn't expect the reporter though. That threw me
oh,
off.
see, he was fishy, but I don't know.
I honestly think that I don't understand the explanation
Yeah.
because like it's just odd because this guy is like such a loner, and but like 20 years later he's drawn back in by the brother, and the brother convinces him to do all these things, but yet the guy is also confident enough to like hit on the sister and do all this stuff. It's very messy, and I feel like it was just another red herring in a way to keep the scent off the brother for a little bit longer in the story. And I don't completely feel like that part made sense. Like the part with the brother to me made sense.
Yeah.
I even the Daniel stuff was a little like, okay, you never said anything to her, and like you just did all this behind her back without explaining, but like, okay,
Yeah.
you neither of you were being honest at all. But like the stuff with Tyler Aaron, I was just like, I don't that's just kind of unbelievable. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Maybe if he was a little bit more unhinged, but he seemed like a very normal person, and maybe that's what she was trying to do, the author. But I would have liked them to. I think she knew that because she didn't really explain how he influenced Tyler. She's kind of like, oh yeah, he told him to do it, so, and then like moved on. She didn't do like any of the hard work of explaining it or like the psychology behind it.
Yeah, because the brother, like and it was like a through line where he was like very charismatic and like manipulative and like was able to charm people. But with the reporter, he seemed like very even keeled, normal, was doing his job. And then all of a sudden, like the deadness was in his eyes. And like he's supposed to be this loner that like was so desperate for like approval that he would kill someone. But like where did this come from? Like how would someone like that be able to be so confident and manipulative? Like it wouldn't that like that's what the brother was like. I don't know. Like I guess it's emulation, but it's just I don't think it'd be someone could just be that convincing.
Mm-hmm.
I was disturbed with how like she reached out to Tyler Aaron for help, and then they like had that experience with Daniel's mom, which I thought was also like very disturbing. And then they hooked up, but then later she killed him. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? And that part was just like disturbing to me. I felt kind of bad for the character because I know she already has other traumas going on, but it was just like, how do you move on from this? You know, like, oh, I trusted this person and these events proceeded. I don't know. I'm curious about what would happen to her like further in the future. Like, would she seek help for herself? Would she continue with her disorder, her substance abuse disorder, I mean, or like, will she be able to connect back with Daniel, or is that, you know, no possibility just because of the seriousness of what happened?
I feel like they left it like if they would connect back. Just because at first it's like, oh, he kind of, wasn't too lovey-dovey towards the end because of all the things that were happening. But I feel like they kind of left it like once things get better, when she's a little better, they'll get back together. But I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of her character just because it's sad that she literally can't trust anybody because she's lost in her own little, issue with drugs and all the trauma, and she just needs to work on herself, which obviously easier said than done.
And figure out the relationship with the mom and dad too. I forgot, did the mom die or did she not die? Or she was just like in serious condition?
We don't.
It didn't say, right?
It doesn't say, no, because at the end when her dad it really just mentions the dad, like, oh, he's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really say whether she's visiting her mom or not. It kind of just leaves that as a
Yeah.
blank.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, because if she had totally completely passed away, it'd be like, okay, there's no like chance of her reestablishing a connection. So then she would only have her dad. But now I'm like, if the mom is still alive and the future character is just like trying to navigate like she lost her brother, like will she reach out to her parents or will it be again just too much for her? I feel like she just has a lot going against her in a way.
Yeah, it makes me a little concerned because I see it with teachers sometimes. Like, how did she clear it to become a psychologist? And like, what? I just, especially like knowing her trauma, I don't know. And also her just prescribing pills right away. I just thought that part was strange that she just happened to be a psychologist. And I feel like if you're a psychologist, you should be more in tune and also be more self-aware, maybe. Like, I'm having these issues, I need to go get help rather than just like try to solve a mystery on your own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or like being more perceptive of the, I mean, I don't know. Again, I guess it's with the whole theme of her just being very, like drifting through life and not really paying attention to things. But like you would have thought that she would have been more perceptive about these people around her, or even if it's someone like even just like the reporter guy, because she didn't know him that well. Like, wouldn't she have been like noticing this deadness behind the eyes a lot sooner? Because she's supposedly a therapist and a psychologist that understands human psyche. Like, why was she so taken in?
They should know all the body language and all the little things. I feel like they should catch on.
All the tells. There's so much they use that sometimes at work.
I was gonna mention something else and I forgot. Oh, there is, like, today I work with this one doctor, and one of the patients was actually saying that she tried to get a therapist, but a lot of like the nurse practitioners are more driven to just give drugs. So I feel like, what if she kind of, well, obviously we don't know what route she took to get where she's at. I mean, kind of.
She got a PhD and then a master's.
I was about to say, although that's reverse, so I don't know. But apparently there is providers out there in therapy or psychology and all that stuff or psychiatry that are very just like medicine driven instead of helping the patient, which I feel like this is what happened here. But then again, we don't really, we don't go deep into that section. But yeah, I think it's pretty intense that she has this issue, and then she could be putting this issue on this like one patient she barely even knew.
That stuff. I think that's the part that like stayed with me the most after finishing it throughout this novel, like just her battle and like her need for help, but then she's either not recognizing she needs it or no one else is like really pushing her more. Like her brother was supposedly saying it, but now that we know how he turned out, I just feel like maybe it was also his way of like keeping her in control or keeping her unsure of herself as well.
I think I really enjoyed. So I was like super behind, and I literally read like, the whole book this last week, pretty much. And then once I finished it, I went back and I watched your guys' meeting, and I just kept taking notes because I'm like, oh my god, like because you guys were pointing out certain things that I'm like I just thought was really funny. So I really enjoyed that because I was like, oh, like it was a different. Usually I'm like, pretty on it, but I felt like this time was a little different, and I actually kind of enjoyed it. Not saying that I'm going to skip more in the future. Yeah. But it definitely was like, I was like, she's got it. I think Paola, you had like predicted it from like the very beginning. Yeah. It was like every week you'd say like new things, like I'm going back. I think it's him.
Hey, no.
But I missed you guys. It's been too long.
It was a good book
Well, you're back
choice.
for the finale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the beginning.
And then I was like 20 minutes late. I couldn't, for whatever reason, my thing wasn't opening. I try to kept opening. I usually open it through Outlook and I like on my calendar,
Mhm.
but it wasn't connecting for whatever reason. I was like, why is it taking so long? Judith was like, where are you? And I was like, I'm here.
Really? I didn't get your tags. All I saw was
No, I typed it, but then I was like, no, I'm gonna pop in. But then I was like, no, it's taking too long. So I was like, nah, I passed the window.
I was like, this girl just watched the message and was like, I'll skip.
Oh, did I leave you on red?
Yes. I was like, okay, Crystal, you don't want to be part of the club anymore. That's great.
No, I literally got up and I was like, book club. And then I had technical difficulties.
I still
I
find
thought-
it crazy that the husband, like, or not even husband, the fiance, it still had the code as the wedding, which I'm still that's too much for me still. And I'm wondering if maybe because he was looking forward to having the sister be there for the wedding, but I don't know if he would have, or like why is it so, oh my god, this must be my my pin, my passcode. It's a little
Maybe he was in love. No?
I don't
Because
know.
he was always trying to protect her. Like he was like he knew, but then he's like, didn't want to tell her because he knew it was gonna be like, maybe it was too much, or maybe he's like, it's not the right time. She's already super stressed out because of the wedding, because of work, and like she's still trying to focus on herself, like socially, like she's still working on that. Like he's like, okay, maybe, but he kept trying to keep a distance, like how she said, oh, he kind of held her, like when Cooper was around. Like I feel like he was kind of just like looking out for her, and I think that's why they didn't get married, because like he was just like, she wasn't in the right mindset, like maybe in the future, I don't know, he actually legitimately like cares for her.
I think they both were like not like able to be in a real relationship because neither of them were sharing things with each other and neither of them were being honest. But I do think they cared about each other. And his actions were from a place of caring, but it's almost like he didn't know how to properly deal with them and talk about them and like share about them, and all of his actions like just ended up making them like so distrust, and like instead of coming together and being a team, like they were both like dealing with this stuff on their own. So if they were ever like, I think they still I agree with you, I think he did care about her, they just like were not able to really build a relationship. And if they ever tried again, like I feel like they'd both have to go to therapy separately to like understand how to like deal with these things and have healthy communication, and like maybe down the line they can be together, because I do think they cared about each other.
And I think he didn't tell her because he was if you're so used to keeping a secret, and you have to get in the mindset, I just can't tell anyone about this. And then it's like becomes this thing you have to protect. And then if you tell anybody, even someone close to you, even though you're not jeopardizing it, it feels like you're jeopardizing it. Especially if you're protecting somebody.
Yeah, which I can see that.
Not saying he was right, but just trying to figure out what he was thinking.
Yeah, and then he'd have to go into his parents and all that.
That was creepy. Like the mom was like how like on a level where I was just like, I don't know. I was scared because she's like grabs her hand and she's like, that was my daughter's, and she's like I don't know. I put myself like I was Chloe. I'd just be like, oh my god, she's coming at me. And then the way that she chases the car and the falls to her knees, I was like, that's so dramatic.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm laughing.
I thought the ending was very satisfying though. I'm glad we got like all that information, and because they could have just left a lot of the answers like question marks, but she kind of explained almost everything. And then I like that she left the relationship with Daniel kind of open, so we have hope for them.
Mhm.
The character I felt the most emotionally attached to is now the dad.
Mm.
So I would have liked to have seen, or like, I guess, have read some type of interaction between them.
Mhm.
Like even between Daniel and him, like any conversations they may have had. I mean, at least like at the end, like recapping.
Mm.
I thought, didn't he go visit him?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's right. But they didn't like
They
say the
didn't say
conversation,
anything.
like, nothing. They're just like, oh yeah, he went to go visit him.
Which
I'm really surprised she never was able to have a conversation with her dad, because it seemed like the unspoken thing throughout the entire book was that like she had never talked to him about it, and it seemed like it was building towards that, and then it just was kind of like, oh, I'm keeping my distance right now, but wasn't that the point? Like she's like, now she's gonna face the truth, so doesn't she have to talk to her dad? Maybe there's a sequel, I don't know. A sequel with no mystery, but her wrapping up all the loose ends. Her going to therapy.
there you go. Yep. That
It's
actually
like a whole epilogue.
Bonus chapter.
I don't know if it's because of this book, but I came across this book, which is too long, on Libby, called Maybe You Should Talk to Someone. And it's like,
Oh, I've read that book.
you have?
Yeah,
Oh.
it's good. It's
like
pretty
a
interesting.
therapist with different stories, right? Yeah, and I was like,
And she's going to therapy too. So
yeah.
it kind of relates to she's definitely not nearly as much of a hot mess as this girl. But yeah, it was a good book. It's like a nonfiction type book,
Which is
sort of.
totally not my thing, but I was like, oh, let me try this out. And it says a therapist, her therapist, and our lives revealed. And I was like, I wonder if this was what contributed to my brain just being like, yeah, sure, let's go into listen about therapy people. But I don't know. I feel like it's more real and not as crazy as this one. But yeah, kind of cool.
I have a question about I know he kind of got backed up into a corner, the dad, a little bit, but first question, would you, if you are a parent, if you're thinking as a parent, would you have done the same? Or, because my thought process is, I have this kid who has issues and who has just murdered some young girls. I want to protect him. I want him to get the help he needs, but also this is like beyond like drug use or other like depressive episodes. It's other people's lives. So I think I would have to turn them in, and then however their life turns out, because I also have this other kid at home. So if I go to jail, I'm abandoning them. They didn't do anything wrong. It's not like I'm giving up hope on one kid, but it's like I have two.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I would have, if I was him, I would have had to turn him in.
Mm-hmm. I would too.
I think I would too.
Because technically he's also leaving her in danger.
That's
Mhm.
like her inside all the time, right?
Yeah. Like, sure, it's her brother, but you never know.
Mhm.
Going after girls specifically, so.
But
Yeah,
my
I
other
mean,
thought
I'm
was,
not a parent. I'm never gonna. I don't know what that's like, but I still feel like by him by the dad taking the fall, like there were so many awful repercussions, and there were all of these terrible things that happened, and all of these other lives were ruined, and all of these people, were impacted. And if the son, if the brother would have just, gone and kind of, gone to jail for his crimes or whatever. Also, he's a juvenile, so I don't know, he might have been tried as an adult, but that could have helped him in some way. I still feel like like it was beyond just like, oh, he has a troubled past, or like, oh, he's like going through something. It's like he's killed like 6 girls.
Yeah.
You know, and he doesn't seem to show any remorse. I think at that point, like, you can't justify that. And I am, like, again, not a parent. I don't know exactly what that's like, but it just was like that decision was a really bad decision in the long run.
And I also thought maybe he did it because he was in shock that it was his son, and maybe even felt even more guilty because he raised him. It was like, well, it was he's his responsibility, so it's partly his fault.
I think that's why he had set it aside, right? He's like, I have to figure out what I'm gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
And during that time is when Chloe found it. It was
Yeah.
just, I mean, timing.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of said they thought maybe they would get away with it or something, or like there wouldn't be enough evidence, whatever. And then I think during the trial, it was looking like he was going to get convicted, so then he had to do the plea. He's guilty.
Had he already cleaned the evidence that was in the closet too? I think I read that today. So then only his prints would have been on it, so it might have been hard to get out of it.
Mm.
Yeah. That's true. I think that could have been one of the points why he's like, well, the cops are already here on the way or whatever, and or like what's her name? Chloe had already discovered it and they had already gone to the cops. But I'm not a mom either, so I'm not a parent. I feel like that role to protect your child, I feel like it's a different kind of feeling that not unless you're there you can experience it. I mean, I've seen it in other parents and I've seen it in, but it's tough because he did put Chloe in danger.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not to say like one of the kids is better than the other, but kind of made it seem like, oh, he was the star, he was this, and he was so good, maybe he'll get better. But not when he literally had no emotion when they were taking the dad away, right? He was like, I'll keep killing.
It makes me wonder how the other families of real serial killers and just murderers cope when they find out.
Mm-hmm. I feel like just they would be feel very guilty.
Mm-hmm.
Especially,
and I guess that's what happened to the mom. The mom was like so overcome by guilt that she couldn't, I guess, protect her daughter and try to help, mold her son away from it. Like it, like, wasn't it like really soon after the dad was convicted, like a few weeks or something, that she
tried to kill herself,
right? Like,
yeah.
Wasn't it really soon
after?
Yeah,
I think it was pretty quick, which I mean, I don't know what she was thinking in that aspect. I mean, obviously nobody wants to be once again, I'm not a parent, but nobody wants to have a child who's a murderer. So I think that would obviously be like, oh my gosh, my husband is gone and now they're going to think this of my family, and I can see how stressed and, all the feelings she would feel. But once again, she's ignoring the part that there is another child that is not that this is a deal, but they don't know the truth, and she should have been protecting her instead of, just be like, I quit. Bye.
It's funny that for Daniel's sister too, I feel like the parents also didn't protect her, and Daniel had to take on that like older brother role, protective role, and Cooper like was very much the opposite of that.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting how they kind of parallel.
Does anyone wonder if somehow like Cooper manipulated the mom to do what she did?
Yeah. I kind of thought that. I kind of thought he might have been involved
with verbal abuse. Yeah.
Yeah, like in a way, like so that she couldn't reveal the secret, right? Because she couldn't talk.
Mm.
So I did think that right away. I was like, so he must have done something. Because
Yeah.
how else? Because I mean, that's the only way. She's the only other person that knew.
Maybe that do you think he could have also like given the mom some drugs, kind of like what he was doing with Chloe and the other girls? Because maybe the mom, if she was feeling depressed and she did seek help, maybe they gave her like some, some of those medications, and maybe that's kind of what made him start having the idea of using the medication for the future girls.
Mm-hmm.
And
Maybe that's why she couldn't speak.
and maybe that's why Chloe went into like that field for her career. She's trying to understand, what happened to her mom.
Mm.
But I'm thinking, if he drugged her and he, like, let's say he did the act of, like, putting her in the closet. It was a closet, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he would. Oh no, he was in wrestling. He could have picked her up. Never mind. I was gonna say, I feel like he's too tiny to pick a body up and set up the whole thing, and but he was tough or tall or like more manly than most, I guess.
It's just a conjecture, but I'm just trying to think of how it could have happened.
Yeah.
I wonder what the mom, when she was spelling with the letters, was she spelling Dan or Dad? Like, did she want?
They said dad in the book. They said that she was trying to spell dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't say that.
So she wanted her to go talk to her dad to get answers.
But Chloe's so dumb. She doesn't want to Daniel.
Yeah.
Katie holding up Punch's back.
I just thought that was like a very obvious thing, especially because the author made it his name Daniel on purpose.
It was weird.
Yeah,
Why
the
didn't the mom
moment-
spell out Cooper?
Yeah, that would have been better. Well, maybe she's like, she didn't want her to go talk to Cooper because Cooper would have freaked out because she's on to him.
From the moment that they didn't do the third letter, I knew it wasn't Daniel. I knew it was Dad because I was like, there's a reason why she left that out. And Daniel's such a red herring. Like, it's like so obvious that they're making it seem like it's him, that all of us last time were just like, it can't be him. It's too obvious.
Yeah.
I like how she helped take her brother down at the end too, kind of the same way that she got to by Tyler Aaron. I thought that was good karma.
I did like the
Was
whole.
anyone else like worried that she was taking the law into her own hands again? Like that she was like again going to try to do something without telling her.
Yeah.
I thought it might have ended where Tyler Aaron pinned it on her and then she would just end up in jail with her dad or something and like not getting out. And I was concerned she forgot the phone in the car, but coincidentally she brought the guy, and I'm like, both are important in different ways. Yeah.
Well, that makes me think maybe the book would have been make a little bit more sense if she was a deputy or a detective than a psychologist.
Yeah.
Then you can't get pills being a deputy.
Yeah, she needs the evidence lab or little cubby, whatever they call it. Let's go take the drugs from there. Whatever she can find, whatever they call
Probably die.
She never got in trouble.
Other things.
What was that, Kelly?
She never got in trouble for the drugs, and then like, is that even good evidence? She like drugged him and he confessed,
malpractice of police activity.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Like you're drugging and filming without his consent. He might get off.
Yeah, his attorney.
Yeah,
Maybe it was the
you're
dad's
right.
wanting to help send him to jail. I don't know. But yeah, actually looking back on it, that's pretty sketchy. I hadn't thought of it that way.
There were definitely things in this book where I thought that the author clearly had like a really good imagination, but like maybe not, things wouldn't really happen this way in real life. And that's another example of like, I don't think that they would do that in that way. I don't know. They always like try to get a confession, but you're right. Like, would they condone her drugging him? Like, maybe that would invalidate it. Or like, you know, the fact that she was prescribing people drugs on like the first visit and stuff like that, where there were like certain things that happened that were a little bit like,
What if they told her to talk to Cooper and record it, but then she like went a step further and put the pills in again? I don't know. She's taking it into her own hands again.
That's what I thought. Like she hadn't told them, and only her and Cooper would know that she drugged him.
Mm-hmm.
But he was like on the floor.
His eyes were getting droopy.
What is she gonna tell attorney? Oh, he's just a lightweight. Can't handle his.
Oh gosh.
and also like they were waiting outside, like they had everything to be able to come in. It was like because the author wanted us to be in the headspace of the character where she needs to know that like that point where she was like, he would have hurt me.
Mhm.
You know, like, yeah, like narratively that really hits, but like realistically probably wouldn't have gotten to that point, right? If they're like right outside looking and they see her like him like trying to grab her, like wouldn't they have come in right away?
Yeah, I feel like I agree with what you said. I feel like at some point it kind of felt like the author was grasping at straws to make it seem dramatic, but maybe wasn't the most realistic, although it was entertaining to read.
Yeah, the last section was my favorite. There was just so much going on. Everything was being revealed.
Did anybody get scared with the mom when she was like tapping on her finger and then she turns and then her mom's like eyes were open?
Yeah.
I got straight chills.
Good descriptive.
I was just so happy to be reading it when it was like night out, and I was like, "Ooh, time to go to bed."
Good descriptive language for sure.
Yeah. What would you rate it?
I'd say 4 too.
4.
I'm in between like a 3 and 4, so I'm gonna say a 3.5. I give it a 3 on Goodreads.
That's how I was. I'm like it was good, but it wasn't like amazing. There's little parts where I'm like, meh, it's okay. So I didn't give it a 5, obviously. I was like 3 or 4. And I'm like maybe a 3.5. But more towards the 3 because I was like, yeah, it was all right.
I would give it
Yeah, I think I go ahead.
a 3 just because it was I wanted to finish it because it was a mystery, and it was original in the idea that it's from the perspective of a daughter or family member of a serial killer. But there's some loose ends I would have liked to be cleared up more. Maybe some more from the dad. Like half their reunion would have really sealed the deal for me. But I thought it was interesting enough for 3.
I think I'd give it a 3.5. I think that it was entertaining. I liked a lot of the exploration of like the trauma and like the relationships. It definitely like picked up and it was an easy read. But I feel like the mystery wasn't as thought out as it should be. I felt like there were so many red herrings that it was like a little bit like annoying. And I almost feel like the author was just like trying to like pull the wool over our eyes, where it became a little bit ridiculous. And there were just certain parts about it that I just like didn't really track. there were like little like just things here that didn't really make sense. So I thought it was entertaining. I liked the writing style. I liked the characters, but the mystery fell a little flat for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd give it a 3.75 because I love the mystery and, like you said, the perspective of the serial killer's family. But yeah, it was kind of like slow when it was all when we were all focused on Daniel. We knew it wasn't Daniel. And then the ending was, kind of rushed and a little confusing, but satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
So, 3.75.
I like the specificity.
I also didn't like when we were left in like, she's telling us the story and next thing you know, it's not even like the present, it was the past. Like, I feel like the transition, other books have done it better where you can tell, oh shoot, she was, flashback or whatever. And this one was just like, wait, where am I?
Oh my God, I hated that.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it was like in the same time period, and it wouldn't finish the scene.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like, oh, like this is what happened.
Yeah.
But like she's like thinking back to it. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I didn't like that.
It happened a lot, but I did catch myself saying, wasn't I just in this other like spot in this other location with this other character, and now I was confused at least twice. So I'm like, yeah, that put it down back to like I was gonna give it a solid 3, but I'm like, you know what, it was good, but it wasn't like, oh my God, amazing. So yeah. Do you guys have
I saw something that like they're making this into a series with Emma Stone. I don't know if that's true.
this one?
It could be completely wrong. I thought I read that somewhere.
I think the book that Katie suggested is farther along than this book. This book,
Yeah, definitely.
They barely said like, yeah, let's do something. Like the production people are like, oh yeah, let's think about it. And it's funny that I'm like, this is like right here. It ends with us is right here, and then the Under Heaven is like out here with the trailer and everything.
Yeah, that's coming out like in a few weeks.
Yeah, it's out there, which is crazy.
Should we have done that one? So we can
I
watch the
know,
movie?
I was like, I should have picked that one as a choice.
I'm curious
No,
about
I'm
that.
still
But
pretty excited about this book.
yeah, I just don't know if that one would have been great for book club, but I'm curious about it.
The
Maybe
Under the
side book.
We should all read it as our side book and then just come together and meet up and discuss it.
I have so many side books. It's so bad.
Should we pick up a second book for book club? Just kidding.
No.
Could barely make the one.
I can't do it. I honestly can't do it.
Maybe.
Or we can just watch a show. We can watch.
Oh.
I started
And
watching.
discuss.
Bridgerton?
No, Handmaid's Tale. I'm almost done. It's all right. It's all right.
We should watch the Andrew Garfield thing, the
Yeah.
thing that's coming out.
Yeah. Is it gonna be a show?
I think it's a mini series.
A miniseries? Okay.
So it's like I don't know how many episodes, but
We can do it.
under the heaven. What's it called?
I think
So are we
I
going to
think
call it
it's,
Book and Media Club?
Yeah.
called
I'm always down to watch TV.
I finished Bridgerton already.
I haven't seen it, but someone told me that Harry Styles song is on there. I'm obsessed with him. I am.
There is.
Yes.
There is in a
And they're like,
scene,
oh my
yeah.
God. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll watch it.
Did he cry?
Did I cry?
Yeah.
No. I thought that the well, I don't want to spoil anything, but I thought
I'm like-
I thought the actors and the actors carried the show.
Oh, okay.
Carried this season of the show. I
Yeah.
felt the writing was very repetitive, but the actors had such good chemistry and they were so good that they made me want to keep watching.
Do you prefer season 1 or this one?
They're really different.
Okay.
Like honestly, they're so different that I think season 1 was maybe better, but season 2 I liked the characters more,
Is my
and I really liked the actors a lot. Like I hope that there's more of them next season with better writing.
my best friend's the one who told me about the song, and she's like, I like it, but there's nothing like the first season. And I was like, okay.
They're just so different. The first season is like a sex fest, and this one is like a Pride and Prejudice novel kind of.
So is that not what the series is about? Because that's the only reason why I was gonna watch it.
Good one.
Wait,
No,
Kelly, did you
season
say you
2 is not
cried?
nearly as horny. The first season is like there's like a sex scene in it like every 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Second
Oh,
series, not as
good.
much.
very powerful.
Wait, Kelly, so did you cry on
In
season?
the first season,
Oh,
because I don't know, it's just so.
Oh, I cried. And
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
I
just
cried
so,
I remember.
so beautiful, and the ending. Yeah, can't say too much, but
Onto this book. I like to take off the covers. I mean, this cover is
That
beautiful.
was such a nice surprise. I hadn't seen it, Judith, and I saw it on Instagram. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, this is beautiful, but this, I was like,
It reminds me of when you were taking anatomy and we would talk about it and you were talking about the heart a lot. Remember, like, this book is for Judith.
I love this because a lot of hardbook covers don't do this, or hardcovers. They just like, you know, they have the little side that's colored, like this one, and then this. But I love that this is here, and I was like, oh, so pretty.
And it goes with like the gothic vibe, I think, like the heart showing up like that. So I'm excited.
I'm gonna separate.
Oh, the audiobook has 33 minutes of a bonus feature with the author.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Is that in the novel? Probably not.
No.
I'll check.
Oh,
30 minutes, an extra it's 110 pages of just questions with the author.
Seems like it.
No. That
That's
doesn't.
cool. We don't have that. We just have a 1-page epilogue.
I'm gonna find the audiobook on the
Very
video
cool.
and request and listen later. Whenever it's my turn.
So I'm gonna separate it into 4. To Jan, who has my heart. Cute.
Who's Jan?
Who's Jan?
Office.
I don't know why that made me think of The Office. Yeah.
me too.
I was like, Jan was the worst woman in the world.
I know. Like, if someone dedicated a book to her, it'd have to be like a, you know, I don't know, like a
Michael
serial
Scott.
killer book.
So it'll be, we have chapters, but it has a prologue. So from the prologue to chapter 8, don't read 9. It should be 83 pages, but 83 is in between a chapter, so I did just 80 pages.
Okay.
Wrote it down.
Me too.
That will be, what is the day?
Oh, so I'm reading the Evelyn Hugo book or doing the audio book. And the voice of the Monique sound reminds me of the personal librarian author's voice. I don't know if that's just because they're both African American or if it's the same person. I'll have to check.
Are they also very slow readers? Because I had to listen to that one on like 1.5, and I normally never do that.
Yeah, she is slow. Okay, so there's multiple readers. So when it's Monique talking, I can speed it up. But when it's Evelyn Hugo talking, that goes faster. So I feel the need to slow it down. So it's kind of like,
I might have to reread that one.
Yeah, I was about to say, I feel like it kind of reminds me of this other one that I let Corina borrow. But I know the stories are not the same. Right, Corina?
I feel like it's like similar time
Right?
eras, though, different styles, so it does make it seem similar, even though it's also different locations, right?
Mm-hmm. Because
I did like that one.
right?
I still have it.
Isn't it like, I don't know. I don't want to give a spoiler. Never mind. I won't.
It's the tone, I think, really. It's like the tone from like back then, in the past.
Because I feel like something that happens at the end of both books or that's revealed is the same event. But maybe it's my mind that's confusing the stories.
We'll see.
I don't know. We'll wait until Julie finishes.
Yes.
And Eileen.
Have you read it, Katie?
I have not.
And Katie.
And we have to wait for Katie too.
Well, I think because I got a spoiler somewhere, so I'm like, whatever. But I'll read it eventually. I was gonna read it during my spring break.
Send it to you.
I think
I have it downloaded on my Kindle app.
Oh.
I just haven't read it. So, but thank you. I appreciate it.
Did you know the author is the same as that Daisy Jones and the Six you suggested?
Mm-hmm. Taylor Jenkins Reid.
And Malibu Rising. That one was good. That was much shorter though.
Yeah, I just read Malibu Rising, and I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan. I think I'm liking this one better.
I liked the Evelyn Hugo one better too.
I'm still reading my opioid book. I have 7 hours left because it's like 32 hours.
Oh my gosh. One of the books I mentioned I got finally as an ebook from the library, so I might read that one over spring break. It's the one about the opioid crisis.
Yeah, that's the one I have 7 hours left on. It's really good. It's just so long. That's why I would not have worked for book club. We would have needed like 2 months.
That could be a February, March one. February is short and March is long.
Oh yeah.
We don't have another month like that.
Okay, I think it is the same audiobook reader for this too.
Oh, that's so funny.
I was like,
She's
am I being
prolific.
racist? And I'm just like these two ladies sound the same. No, it's the same person.
So it's Robin Miles. Is that her name?
Yeah.
Yeah, she needs to speed up. She's so slow.
I know.
Like, I hate speeding it up because I feel like sometimes they sound distorted, but I couldn't get through it without speeding her up.
I feel like I need to read more or listen to audiobooks.
They're good.
Because I have started way too many books and I haven't been able to get back to them.
I always do that. But I'll start reading it and then I'll just finish it audio.
Yeah. It's not possible to read 3 books at the same time.
It's helpful when you're like doing chores or when you're driving or going on a walk. Like, you can just like, the only time it's not helpful is like when you actually have like downtime where you would read a book.
Yeah.
And otherwise you're like listening and just sitting there.
Yeah, I think that's how I've done previous audiobooks. It's when I was walking my sister's dog, but I stopped walking her when I started training for the marathon, and then I haven't done that, and I was like, eh. And then I go to the gym to watch movies and shows and stuff. Well, when I'm not like lifting weights and stuff, because that's kind of impossible. When I'm cycling. Multitask. Okay. Well, we'll see you in a week. Up to chapter 8. Don't read 9. And we'll see.
Alrighty. Have a good night and a good week, everyone.
Night.
I see you on my spring break. Yeah.